Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from Disability Rights International. No Way Home, the Exploitation and Abuse of Children in Ukraine's Orphanages. By Eric Matthews, Associate Director, Disability Rights International. Eric Rosenthal, J.D., Executive Director, DRI. Lori Ahern, President, DRI. Helena Kurlo, M.A., Director, DRI, Ukraine. And they highlight the research team, funding. Sorry for scrolling. I'm going to cover one of the sections. Give me a second. Okay, I just wanted to cover this part, and you guys can go read the entire paper if you want to. And this is from, I can't read it. I'll give you the link. So, human rights obligations. This is very important because what we're dealing with in Scientology with the children, as well as the adults, are human rights obligations. Well, and human rights violations. The following recommendations describe the steps necessary for Ukraine to enforce its obligations under international human rights law. Listen up to that, Scientology. In regard to children and adults, with and without disabilities, who have been detained in orphanages and or other institutions. This includes Ukraine's obligations under the European Convention of Human Rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the UN Convention Against Torture. While children with disabilities are disproportionately placed in institutions, any child may become disabled as a result of institutional placement. The psychological damage created by institutions may result in invincible disabilities, like the rad babies. You guys remember those? Thus, as Ukraine takes steps to remedy these abuses, it is especially important for reforms to be consistent with the requirements of the new UN Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, in planning for the reform of its service system for children. Ukraine can also look to detailed recommendations of the UN guidelines for the alternative care of children. The core provision of international law that should guide Ukraine's action is CRPD Article 19, which recognizes the right to live in the community with choices equal to others. The CRPD reflects one of the main insights of international experience, that abuse, violence, and exploitation are the inevitable result of segregation from society in institutions of any kind. While immediate steps must be taken to protect the rights of children and adults now detained in institutions, the underlying causes of those human rights violations must be addressed through carefully planned but immediate action to downsize and eliminate institutions. Recommendations. Okay, hold on. I'm just going to check it out. 2. Bring an end to inhumane and life-threatening conditions in all institutions. I felt like this is more applicable to Scientology. Eradicate dangerous, filthy, barren, and inhumane environments in which institutionalized persons are forced to live. The priority should be on the outplacement of children to more humane, supportive settings with families in the community. Guarantee adequate food, medical care, habilitation and physical therapy, and psychological support to protect the health and safety of institutionalized children and adults. Ensure that children with disabilities receive the active support they need to interact with other people and benefit from programs available to other children of their age. Special efforts are needed to ensure that children are not left in cribs or isolated. Ban the improper use of physical or chemical restraints and seclusion. Restraints should never be used for administrative convenience, or treatment and medication should be used only for therapeutic purposes. Train professional staff in the care and practices that can be used to bring an end to the use of physical restraints and isolation. You guys seeing a pattern here? This includes specialized training of staff and the creation of positive behavior assistance programs to assist children who are self-abusive. It's because the children, they self-abuse because it's another inversion. It's because they've been so badly abused that they don't feel comfortable unless they're being abused, so they abuse themselves. Ensure the protection of women and girls, including protection from gender-based violence. That includes rape, LAPD. Denial of reproductive rights. Forced abortions. Sound familiar, you guys? And denial of parental rights. You guys seeing a pattern? Bringing an end to the most immediate, life-threatening abuses may entail new expenditures, including on staff within institutions. Any activities or programs created to end these abuses should be short-term and used as temporary measures until children can be moved to the community. These recommendations do not justify spending on new infrastructure at institutions. And also, I was reading over another part of this, and I think it was talking about, like, in times of crisis, like maybe like, it could be anything. It could be war, it could be earthquake, whatever. They actually take the children from their parents when their parents are still living and then place them in these institutions. So anyways, I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night, wherever you are. Peace.